Princess Lily was the very heart of Valoria. She was the daughter of King Arthur and Queen Eleanor, and her beauty and grace were known far and wide. Lily had long golden hair that shimmered in the sunlight, and her eyes were the deepest shade of blue, much like the calm sea. Her smile was warm and genuine, and it made everyone around her feel at ease. The people in the kingdom adored her, not just for her looks, but for the kindness she showed to everyone, from the poorest villager to the highest noble. The royal family lived in a grand castle at the center of Valoria, with walls that stretched high toward the sky and gardens full of the most beautiful flowers. The people often gathered in the castle's grand courtyard, where the princess would visit, chatting with children, offering food to the poor, and listening to the townsfolk. She was not just a princess by birth, but a true leader by heart. One sunny morning, King Arthur, the ruler of the kingdom, stood before the crowd in the castle courtyard, his voice strong and commanding. "People of Valoria," he began, "it is time for our beloved daughter, Princess Lily, to marry. We have received a proposal from Prince Leo of the neighboring kingdom of Valoria. His proposal is a symbol of unity and prosperity. A grand celebration is in order, and soon our princess will make her journey to meet her prince." The announcement was met with loud cheers from the crowd. The idea of Princess Lily marrying a prince so noble and kind was a joyous occasion. Prince Leo was renowned for his bravery in battle and his intelligence in ruling his own kingdom. It was a match made in the stars, and the people of Valoria could not be happier. Lily, however, felt a mix of emotions. Though she had written to Prince Leo for many years, she had never met him face to face. She felt a flutter of excitement at the thought of meeting him, but also a trace of uncertainty. She had been the center of her kingdom for so long, and now a new chapter in her life was beginning. In the royal court, there was one woman who did not share in the kingdom's joy. Lady Rose, a maid who had served the royal family for many years, watched the events unfold with growing envy. Lady Rose was tall and striking, with raven black hair that cascaded down her back in waves. Her eyes were dark, sharp, and filled with a certain allure, which she knew how to use to her advantage. Many had been captivated by her beauty over the years, but it was always Princess Lily who captured the heart of the kingdom. Lady Rose had once been the princess's most trusted maid, always by her side. Yet, as the years went by, Rose's admiration for the princess began to twist into something darker. She no longer saw Lily as a friend or sister, but as a rival. Rose had always been the center of attention at court, until Lily's beauty outshone hers, and her kindness made her the heart of the kingdom. When the announcement of Princess Lily's marriage was made, Lady Rose's jealousy grew. She had spent years in the shadows, working hard to remain close to the royal family. Now, it seemed that everything Lily touched turned to gold. Rose had dreams of her own, dreams of sitting beside Prince Leo as his queen, wearing the finest gowns, and being the center of admiration. But those dreams seemed far out of reach. She decided then that she would do whatever it took to take Lily's place. Rose carefully planned her next move, her sharp mind working silently behind the scenes. She could not take Lily's place through force, but she could deceive the royal family. She could pretend to be Lily, deceive the prince, and take everything she had always wanted. The day of departure arrived, and Princess Lily stood ready at the gates of the castle, her heart beating faster with each passing moment. She was dressed in a beautiful gown of soft lavender, and her long golden hair was neatly braided and decorated with tiny white flowers. She looked every bit the princess she was, graceful and elegant. Beside her stood Lady Rose, who had dressed in a deep emerald gown that complemented her dark beauty. Rose smiled sweetly at Lily, offering her a supportive hand as they climbed into the royal carriage that would take them on their journey to Balloria. The journey ahead was long, but Lily did not mind. She gazed out of the carriage window at the lush green fields, the tall trees that lined the road, and the distant mountains that seemed to stretch to the sky. Her thoughts wandered to Prince Leo. What would he be like? Would he be kind? Handsome? She couldn't wait to meet him in person. Along the way, they passed through villages and towns, and Lily made it a point to greet the people, speaking to the children and offering food to the poor. It was this kindness that made her beloved to everyone she met. Rose, on the other hand, was more distant, her sharp eyes watching the road ahead, her thoughts far away. As the sun began to set, they arrived at a small inn for the night. Lily felt exhausted from the long ride, but was still eager for the next day's journey. She retired early, feeling the softness of the bed beneath her. Rose, however, remained awake, her mind racing with her plan. The next morning, Princess Lily awoke, feeling a strange sense of weakness. She tried to sit up, but found that her body felt heavy, as though she had been drained of energy overnight. Rose was already up, her dark eyes gleaming with a hint of triumph as she watched Lily struggle. "You should rest today, Princess," Rose suggested, with false sweetness in her voice. "You are clearly not feeling well. Let me continue the journey ahead to Balloria. The prince will be expecting us, and I must make sure everything is prepared." Lily, too tired to protest, nodded weakly. She trusted Rose, as she always had, and so she allowed her to go ahead. Rose left the room, but not before ordering the innkeeper to keep the princess hidden away in a small, private room. "She is tired," Rose told him, "and must stay here until I return." The maid's steps were light and quick as she made her way toward Beloria, leaving Lily behind with nothing but a thin blanket and her own quiet thoughts. Rose was already planning her next move, thinking about how she would convince Prince Leo that she was the princess. She would wear the fine gown she had brought for such an occasion, and she would smile sweetly at him, playing the part perfectly. It was all going according to her plan. Lily spent the next several days at the inn, weak and alone. She had no money and no means of returning home. The innkeeper, a kind man with a heart of gold, offered her a place to stay in exchange for work. She helped him in the kitchen, cleaned the floors, and assisted in serving food to the people who passed through the village. Though it was humble work, Lily did it with grace, as she had done all her life. Her kindness shone through, even in such difficult circumstances. It was during this time that Lily met Finn, a young man who worked in the village. Finn was tall, with dark brown hair and warm brown eyes. He was poor, but he had a heart full of kindness. He noticed the tired princess as she worked in the market square, and though he had no idea who she truly was, he couldn't help but be drawn to her gentle spirit. One day, as she served him a piece of bread, he smiled warmly at her. "You seem so sad, miss," he said. "Is there something troubling you?" Lily smiled weakly. "I've been separated from my family," she explained, not wanting to reveal her true identity. "I'm just waiting to be reunited with them." Finn offered her his friendship, promising to help her if she needed anything. He visited the inn often, bringing her food and chatting with her to keep her company. Over time, the two became close friends, and Lily began to trust him more than anyone else. Lady Rose finally reached the grand castle of Prince Leo. The kingdom of Beloria was known for its strong fortifications and its sprawling, majestic grounds. As she approached the gates, she couldn't help but admire the beauty of the kingdom. The sky above was a brilliant blue, and the castle stood tall against the horizon, with its towers reaching high into the sky. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers, and the sound of birds singing seemed to echo through the vast gardens. Lady Rose rode in confidently, dressed in the fine gown she had prepared for this moment. She knew that the people of Beloria would mistake her for Princess Lily. After all, the princess's beauty was known far and wide, and Lady Rose had learned the art of imitating her mannerisms and gestures over the years. When she entered the grand hall, Prince Leo was there waiting to greet her. He stood tall, with broad shoulders and a strong jawline. His deep green eyes held a gentle warmth, and his smile was kind and welcoming. "Welcome, Princess Lily," he said, bowing as he kissed her hand. "I have been eagerly awaiting your arrival." Lady Rose felt a rush of satisfaction at the prince's greeting. She smiled at him, her eyes bright and full of warmth. "It is a pleasure to be here, Prince Leo," she replied, her voice smooth and full of grace, just like Lily's. "I have heard so much about your kingdom." The people in the castle greeted her warmly, admiring her beauty and elegance. They didn't suspect for a moment that she was not the true Princess Lily. Rose enjoyed the attention, and for the first time, she felt like she was the one in control. She would enjoy every moment of this deception until the truth came to light. As Lady Rose settled into the castle, Prince Leo began to notice small differences between her and the real Princess Lily. Though Lady Rose was beautiful, there was something about her that felt distant and cold, unlike the kind-hearted princess he had imagined. Lily had always been described as warm, compassionate, and selfless, but Lady Rose seemed to lack those qualities. She was charming, yes, but there was a certain emptiness in her eyes when she spoke to the people. At the royal dinners, while the real Princess Lily would have engaged with everyone, listening attentively to their stories and offering her kindness, Lady Rose often appeared disinterested. She would only speak when it was necessary, and her eyes often darted around the room as if she were searching for something more. Leo couldn't help but feel uneasy. One evening, he decided to speak with her privately in the garden. The moonlight bathed the courtyard in silver, and the cool night air was refreshing. Leo stood by the fountain, his hands clasped behind his back. "I must ask you something, Princess," he said, his voice steady, but filled with concern. "Are you feeling well? You seem distant, different from what I expected." Lady Rose smiled softly, her lips curving into a warm yet practiced expression. "I'm simply tired from the long journey, my prince," she said, her voice sweet and soothing. "It's been a long ride, and I look forward to a peaceful life here with you." But Leo wasn't convinced. There was something about her that didn't match the stories he had heard about Princess Lily. His gut told him that something wasn't right, but he couldn't put his finger on it. He decided to wait and see if his suspicions grew clearer. Back in the village, Princess Lily struggled with her new life. The innkeeper had been kind to her, but she still felt the weight of her situation. She had no money, no royal gowns, and no way of contacting her family. The innkeeper was generous, allowing her to stay in a small, cozy room, but she could not remain in hiding forever. She had to find a way to reclaim her place. Each day, she worked in the market square, helping the villagers with their chores. She served food, carried heavy baskets of grain, and assisted with small tasks that needed doing. Though the work was tiring, it gave her a sense of purpose. She did it all with a quiet dignity, never complaining. The villagers soon came to admire her for her humility and hard work. One afternoon, as she was serving bread to the people in the square, a young man approached her. His name was Finn, and he was one of the local farmers. He was kind-hearted and always had a smile for the princess, though he had no idea who she truly was. He simply saw her as a hard-working young woman who had fallen on hard times. "Here, take this," Finn said, handing her a basket of fresh vegetables. "You look like you could use a meal. You've been working hard all day." Lily smiled gratefully, accepting the basket. "Thank you, Finn," she said softly. "You're very kind." Finn, noticing her tired eyes, leaned closer and asked, "Are you sure you're all right? You seem like you've been carrying a heavy burden." Lily hesitated for a moment, but then decided to confide in him. "I've been separated from my family," she said, her voice low. "I'm waiting for them to find me, but I don't know when that will happen." Finn's heart went out to her. "If you ever need anything, just let me know. I'll do whatever I can to help," he said, his brown eyes full of genuine concern. Over the next few days, Finn continued to help Lily, bringing her food and offering his support. He didn't know who she was, but it didn't matter to him. He had come to admire her for her kindness and strength. Now, from this point, the story will be continued in the next part.